What is up, guys? So I got this Craftsman 3 horsepower 20-gallon air compressor, and it is currently leaking up here by this pressure switch. Air is coming out of this little pressure release valve right here. I'm gonna fire this thing up and get a little bit of pressure in here, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Alright, so I went ahead and built this up to around 40 psi, and the second that pump kicks off, this exhaust valve starts leaking, as you can hear. So naturally, you're probably thinking, well, this exhaust valve's leaking, so that must be the problem, right? And you just have to replace this whole pressure switch. Well, that's not exactly the case. Let's get into exactly how this works, and that should help us figure out what the problem is with this compressor. Now, the way this whole system works is you have your pressure switch here. As soon as you kick this thing on, it's saying, hey, we're not at our maximum pressure yet, we need more pressure. So it sends electricity over to your motor, which is driving your pump. Now, your pump's taking that outside air, compressing it, and sending it down this tube here, which is your charge tube, and it sends it into the tank. Now, once your tank builds up to that maximum pressure, your switch is like, hey, we're at the maximum pressure, we need to stop, so it cuts off your motor, which cuts off your pump. Now, at the same time as it does that, it's flipping up a lever, which is hitting this exhaust or this pressure relief valve. Now, that's taking the pressure out of your pump, because otherwise you would have an extremely high load when you go to start this motor. But with that pressure out of here, your motor has less work to do and less of a load when it initially starts. Now, when this pressure release switch is activated and we're taking the pressure out of this pump, we have to hold back the pressure that's in that tank, because that pressure in that tank's trying to push up this charge tube and back into the pump. Now, there's a check valve down here which stops that pressure. It's just like a little ball, and that is only allowing air into the tank one way. So that way, when we release the pressure up here, the pressure in the tank is greater and it pushes that ball up and it seals off this area. Now, if our check valve is broken or it's damaged, that air is coming back up this tube and it's coming out our exhaust valve. So if you have air leaking out of here when the pump is running, you know your pressure relief valve is bad. Now, if you have air running out of here, once everything kicks off and it's more than just a quick little psh, then you know that check valve down here is bad and you got air going backwards through the system. Now, I went ahead and ordered myself a new check valve, so when that comes in, we're gonna tear things apart and we'll see if our diagnosis was correct. So see you guys then. It is the next week and our check valve came in. So our check valve is located right here, so I'm gonna remove this charge tube. There are 2 fittings on it. We'll get that out of the way and then we'll get this check valve out. Alright, so I think we found our culprit. The fact that we can see right through this thing is not good. Now, there is this little spring mechanism, which I think housed that little ball that actually sealed it. So if I was a betting man, I think that this looks something like this at one point, where we had this metal cap that housed that plastic ball that actually sealed it. I bet that those pieces are in the bottom of our tank. Now, this thing did come with some shmoo already on it, but I'm gonna use some Teflon tape and just wrap it around these threads. That way I know I have a good seal. I'm gonna put the new check valve in, and then I'm gonna put the charge tube back on, and we'll fire this thing up and see if we fixed it. So we are completely done with that repair. Super simple. So I got this thing plugged in. Let's kick it on, build up some pressure, and see if we still have a leak. So do you guys hear that? Peace and quiet. That's what I like to hear. So all it was a simple check valve. We got 100 pounds of pressure in here. We're not leaking air, so we are good to go. Now, I do run a ton of air tools off of this thing that I shouldn't run off a compressor this small. So this pump is working extremely hard. And then in combination with this leak, it was constantly kicking on, and that's just not good for it. So hopefully this will make this thing last a little bit longer. It is like 25 years old. So we'll see what kind of life we can get out of it. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one.